Well, welcome back again and again and again. You can tell by the title of the video that this is more of the same Harley Benton ST-62, the VT series. Nice guitar, but not without its issues. So today we are going to be looking at some of the issues. I'm going to just turn off that big light there. Oh, that's much better. All right, so what are these issues? Well, let's check it out. The real issues would appear to be that the tuners, in the beginning I said they were not, that they were quite good, and they, from one tuner to the next, are very inconsistent. And I discovered that especially on the G string here, bringing it up and down, it's just not smooth and not consistent. So what I reckon I want to do is I'm going to start with one of the tuners that is particularly irritatious. I mean, by now I always invent new words. So yes, irritatious tuners, and I think that the D string is a good candidate of this thing. I just cannot get it to settle down. So I'm going to detune this D string, and then I'm actually just going to remove, or try to remove, only that tuner, so that we can kind of get a baseline for what really is the deal with these tuners. Now, as I'm working it again, now it's starting to feel nice. So yeah, go figure. I'm removing the string. I've got to take out the tremolo arm here. Just a sec. I found an old tremolo arm that I had lying around from my box of parts, and it's screwed into the tremolo arm block as well, which is a bonus. There she is. And I still have the leaky nose syndrome. But anyway, this is live video. There's nothing I can do about it. And yeah, we just push on. So, turning the guitar over now, it's this tuner over here that I want to get rid of. And as such, I want my, oh, where are you? My largest, oh, that's very interesting. All my screwdrivers are missing. That's very interesting. And I haven't done anything with them. So what have I done with them if I haven't done anything with them? That's the question. I don't know. It's not there. It's not under the guitar. I mean, I was using it yesterday, wasn't I? Well, let's check the stock. In case I put them in weird places, which I do from time to time. Nope. I found something that will work, so let's just move on, shall we? So, D string, unscrew. Other one screw. Come on, magnet, do your job. And it just isn't. Okay, tweezers, do your job. They're more magnetic than the screwdriver was. Off it comes. That easy. So inside of here, we have a mechanism, and it feels to me that the core issue is the, I mean, this feels very firm and stiff, which is normally good, but I wonder if a bit of lube wouldn't help. So that would be my first plan of attack, simply because if you're watching this, and of course you're experiencing these issues with your Harley Benton, then you would want to know how to tackle it without having to go and buy up a set of tuners. Having said that, I actually have a set of Schala Troublesome style tuners, very good quality, and I have some Coca-Cola that I'm going to drink here. Free advertising, You can't work on guitars without something to drink. And it's a bit early in the day for beer. It's going to be Coke. So cheers. All right. So let's move along. And now what I want to do, have an old sponge here. And I have some spray, oil type spray, which I'm going to try and get down. If you can see that, there's a little gap there. I'm going to try and get down in there with the spray. So that was a liberal amount of oil. And I've got to tell you, that does feel better. So it makes me think that perhaps just lubing up these tuners would be the answer to the problem. And I just want to wipe off the excess with some shop towel. You really don't want to have excess oil on these kind of components, because when you screw it back onto the wood, you don't want to contaminate the wood with that oil. I've seen what that does. It creates runs, and it starts to leach into the wood and create these streaks in the back of the wood, which is not very pretty. And it's just very telltale that somebody's been doing a less than professional job. Now, I'm pretty sure some of you are going to say, oh, you should put grease in there. Yes, I know. But I'll tell you something now. Facilitating that, well, maybe I should demonstrate that anyway. Huh? Would you like that? Putting a bit of grease in there. It's a bit more work, but not impossible to do, and well within my capabilities. As one with hay fever. So let's check it out. See what we can do there. What am I going to need? I'm going to need my my other little screwdriver that I can pry open. I'll show it to you quickly. You've got to pry open these tabs here. 1 and 2. And that'll get the cover off of this guy. It should not, it's hard to tell, but it should not liberate the tuner mechanism, the little shaft here. Well, I don't know. Let's find out. Now, folks, if you're not comfortable doing this, then refrain from doing it. And in fact, I can already feel this is very strong and fairly thick piece of metal. Bending it back is not going to be a good thing. So I actually am going to leave this. What I am going to do is I'm going to get my tuner back on there, and I'm just going to add some more oil through that hole there. So this is a spray oil. It's a fairly thin, viscous oil. Although, is it viscous? Maybe viscous means thick. Anyway, it's got a low viscosity. So, yes, low thickness. It's a low viscosity oil. Here we go. We've got our semantics all sorted out. That appears to have made quite a difference as well. I suspect that most of this really stiffness, this very stiff feel to these things, is due to the fact that it fits through. I'll try and show it to you, but that it fits through where the shaft goes into the casing there. It's fairly tight. On that side, you can see. Now, this is a good tolerance. I actually find it a good tolerance. It's just that the tuners don't feel consistent. So, yeah, let's put it back. Very, very tight fit that. Actually, that's a good thing. Please forgive my sniffing. I'm embarrassed about it, but what can you do? one screw in. Two screws in, just thumb tight. That feels pretty good. And there it is. So now what remains is to put that string on and see if I can get a bit of a better tuning stability. I just discovered that I keep having to bring it up in pitch all the time. It just doesn't want to settle down. Now, I don't know, and perhaps I should have started with that. I don't know what kind of strings are on here. I received the guitar in this condition, and they could be really junky strings, which is very possible. It's it's hard to tell. They feel pretty firm, and I know I've got a certain brand of strings that I do like, and they do kind of feel like those strings. They are definitely 10s. I don't know if they come standard with 10s on a lot of initial delivery strings are 9s, but yeah, can't say. Don't know. Let's have a look. So that's back in place. Let's crank it up and see what happens. Right, so it's time to bring out the tuner. There we go. Set it there. Amazingly, with your phone, the microphone is so sensitive that you can actually now immediately to me this B tuner feels stiff again. G's okay. And the D doesn't want to settle down. There it is. That E's got a nice thump to it. The whole workbench vibrates when I play that E. I don't know if you can hear it through that camera's mic, but yeah, it's pretty wild. So there it is. I'm not satisfied, and there was another thing which I observed, and I'm going to have to address as well, and I'll show that to you in a moment. And what it is the saddle screws, or sorry, not the saddle, the bridge screws. They allow the bridge to travel up, I would say, about 2 millimeters. And when I had the tremolo arm inserted, I discovered that the bridge, and I've set it up for a floating tremolo. And here is one positive thing that I can say. You see how they've all gone sharp. That's a bit better. That G's gone a bit flat. So let's just retune. Now see how that B goes flat? They all went flat again. Every single one of them went flat. So we're still having some tuning issues. Now, it's actually, I don't think it's up here. I think it's down here. So that is going to necessitate me loosening all the strings. Don't want to take them off. I just want them loose. Because I'm going to need to tighten up the tremolo screws just a tad, because to my mind, those tremolo screws don't look right. I'll try to show why. So as one Randy Shardiger says, hold on. Let's see what we can show you here. Right, I think you can see that. Can you see that the gap for, where's my pick? I can get the pick in underneath here at the front edge of the tremolo. Now, to my mind, that is weird. And if I pull up on this tremolo, I get this gap up at the front here. And actually, if I go in with the pick, I can even raise it a little bit. Let's look on the other side. The other side's a bit more difficult to spot. But what should actually be happening is that the front edge of the bridge should be able to sit nice and flush to the body. Now something is prohibiting it from doing that. Hard to know what. But the other thing I notice is that when I pull up on the tremolo, it increases this gap. And we want to prevent that. The bridge has got a bevel on the front, which allows it to bend in the downward direction. And then when it's floating, it allows it to also bend a little bit up, which at present it's not going to be floating because I've released the strings. But actually the strings and the bridge has been set up for the floating tremolo system. So now what I want to do is I just want to turn each of the screws until I can feel it offering some resistance. In other words, it's reached the bottom of the tremolo plate. It's not much. It's like not even a quarter of a turn. But I've turned them all in until I feel exactly the same resistance. So now let's have a look at this gap. I see it's still there. And I'm having to sort of do this on camera, which is never my favorite thing to do. It's why I prefer to go live, because when I do recorded or pre-recorded videos, I end up tossing everything out. But hopefully some will still find this useful. So now I'm sighting along the side of it as I do this adjustment to be sure that all the screws are nicely in place, and they are. So now I want to just feel that. That feels good, and it doesn't feel like it wants to pull the front edge of the bridge upward when I pull back on the tremolo arm, which it was doing earlier. It was actually coming up almost by 2 millimeters, about 1.5 millimeters. Don't know what that is in inches. Good luck to you, inch people. All right, so that's done. Let's bring it up to tension once again. Come along. String. Sorry, you can't see this, but I'm just bringing up a string. And again. Sorry, this is silent work, but what can we do? All right, those are basically tensioned up now. And now I want to tune up again. Let's bring that back down. Let's tune it up. Remember, this is a floating tremolo. So each time you tension up, the tremolo tensions up as well, moves to a new position, and then you have to retune. So, see that? Now you'll take it just slightly sharp each string. And it's slowly getting better. This will probably be the last pass. And we're done. Okay. Testing. Bit flat. Oh, lot flat. Really a lot flat. Unfortunately, this is a bit of a time-consuming process. Can't get away from it. Yep. So we go on. Okay, that's not bad. That's about as good as it's going to get. However, I hate to say it, but I'm not in love with these tuners. I'm going to try the oil trick. I'm going to try and oil them all. So let's get this set up for that job. Leave the tuner over there for now. and I'm going to try and run a bit of oil down all of the tuners. I'm not crazy about oiling them on the headstock, so I think they must come off, just to be safe. And I think I need some more Coca-Cola, so cheers. Oh, Milan, I'll see you now, Milan. My Harley Benton ST-62 has had many issues: fret wear, tuning posts popping out, nut cracked, but despite all this, the guitar stays in tune no matter how much I abuse it. That sounds like you got yourself a good deal there. This one is brand new. This one is hardly played. The previous owner bought it and decided, like I said in the previous video, he said that he's not a Strat fan or a Strat guy. But I have to say that if I had to pick this guitar up and play it as it came, I wouldn't be a Strat guy either. And I know how good Strats can be. But this one, all of the basic building blocks for a great Strat are there. But, oh man, this is, and I've always said this, I've said this in, I think, many videos, that the real difference between a budget guitar and an expensive one is the fact that the expensive guitar has got the work put into it that I'm busy doing on the budget guitar right now. It's this after finishing work, the tuning up of the guitar, the setting up and the sorting out of the issues. That's where labor costs come in at the factory, because now the guitar is manufactured. It's actually ready to go out the door, but it's not ready to go out the door to the hands of a player who at least knows what they should be getting for their money. And of course, that jacks the price up of these things because they come out of the factory in really a top condition. So yes, you can get them coming out of Harley Benton, out of Squire, the places in China and Indonesia, where you get a really great example. Everything just came together. Strat came out great. But then you get these guys where in its raw form, it's a bit of a dog. But actually, it just needs the right kind of work done to it at the hands of someone who knows what's going on, and then it'll come out fine. So, yeah, what can you do? Sometimes you get this. And there's a lot of guys who just say, no, send it back to Toman, and they must sort it out. Fair enough. So why don't I do that? It's because I like what I'm doing right now. So I'm just going to get on with it, right? Speaking of getting on with it, let's do this. So I'm going to release the tuners here again. Take the slacking off the strings. I reckon by the time I've been through all these videos, this thing is going to need a new set of strings anyway. Let's put a capo on just to keep the strings sort of in place while we're doing this job. There's another thing on here that's really should not be, and I think you've already noticed it. Look at these string trees. They're kind of skew and they just look cheap and nasty. So I think what I ought to do is give them a bit of a tightening up and see if they are going to stay in place. So let's just do that. That should be straight. Tension that one down. See what I mean? Both of them are just that little bit loose. Now, it could be that they were already properly tensioned at the factory, but with wood shrinkage and all that kind of stuff, it might have changed it might have made them be loose and look less attractive. So now they're sorted. That was literally like 5 seconds of work while I'm blabbing away at you. All right, let's continue over here. So strings coming off. Here again, you can see why I really love the Troublesome style tuners, because the strings are just so easy to deal with. It's just a beautiful thing. I didn't release this high E string enough for the beauty to come on. There we go. So now all my strings are released, and I'm going to pull this tremolo arm out again. So when I flip the Strat, it doesn't go and lie in a weird position. There we go, tremolo arms out. Let's flip the Strat. I find this this is this non-slip sort of padding that you can buy. I bought this in Germany at somewhere, one of those cheap stores, you know, Teddy or whatever they're called. In Luxembourg and France, it's called Action. You get these cheap stores where they sell all sorts of things, cleaning agents for your kitchen and fluids and what have you, and cups and saucers and cheap decorations for your house and what have you. Anyway, got that over there. So let's just lay them in a row here, set out the screws as well. So that's tuner number 1. Number 2 coming out. Now number 3 we have already oiled, but anyway, it's going to line the line there. Sorry, this is out of picture for you, but you saw the first couple. No changes. All right, last one. Number 6. Now, you know what? I have an idea. I have a set of Troublesomes here. I'm going to put them in. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in the Troublesomes. I just have to go digging around in my pile of stuff, find them. But they are here. Let's see. Bingo, as they say. All right. Scholler made Troublesomes. Let's check them out. That looks pretty nice. Electronic. The world's finest guitar and bass machine heads made in Germany. Right next to the Mercedes factory. That's a joke. Das ist ein joke. Okay, let's get a look. This would be nice to do a bit of an A-B comparison, huh? If we take those two. Okay, that's the opposite end. Let me get the correct end. There we go. Look at that. And you can just see that the German made, this is the Scholler in this hand. It's just finer. Everything is finer about it. Let's try getting my angles wrong here. Huh? Turn them over. I mean, same design ideas. You can see who got their ideas from whom. But also look at the quality of the shaft. It's a more polished, better finished shaft. It's a little bit thicker. I don't know about the gear ratios. The turns ratio, I have no idea. So let me be sure that is the shuller. Yes, it is. That wants to go back in there. And the one thing I notice is that the ferrules are a different size. So this could end up being problematic. Now, the ferrules are in little packets. Hang on, so they're not in a packet. They need to be pulled out from a recess under the tuner itself. So there's the ferrule. We'll try one of them. Let's have a look. So now I'm going to have to very carefully remove that ferrule. And probably the way to do it is from underneath. Oh, that's working. Is it? No, the screwdriver is exactly, there we go. So that's a Harley Benton ferrule. Let's put in the shuller ferrule. And you know what? It's a different size. What a bummer. That's a different sized ferrule. Well, now I'm bummed. I was actually thinking, what the hell? Let's do all of the shuller tuners. That's not going to happen. Well, at least not without drilling the holes out over here. And I'm not really interested in that. So what are we going to do? Well, you know me and my Ziploc bags. So, zippy in here. Some oil. Actually, this isn't the right way to do it. I'm being an idiot. Just lay it down and do them one by one. And then we'll wipe them off after. So, that sounded better. 1, 2, I'm zapping it right in the hole there. 3, 4, 5. Where's number 6? Number 6, where are you? Have I lost my mind? Number 6? By the way, the answer is yes. Okay, get the ferrule back where it belongs. Where did I put number 6? There it is. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. Okay. So they're all oiled up. The next thing I'm going to need is to be wiped dry. Shop towel. So let's get on there and wipe it dry to the touch. And that would be number 1st. I suppose I could just flip this over again now. And here we go. I have to say, I think being able to put some grease in there would have been a better bet, but I have no way of doing that. So it's oil. And I guess with time and a little bit of exercising of these things, they're going to settle down as well. as I said before, they don't feel bad. I'm not fully pleased with them. They don't feel or look, well, they feel worse than they look. They actually look quite well made. You could see the shullers were a bit better. Slightly different dimensions in that, but so I'm really hoping, especially Milan said his one worked out fine. So maybe a little bit of wearing in, a little bit of playing in, will get the entire instrument to settle down. Because I really like the sound of it. I've been practicing. I was upstairs this morning rehearsing for a gig, and I must say that I thought that it sounds just like a Strat. There's these are proper Alnico 5 pickups. Yeah, the flat work is made from plastic rather than from that fiberboard stuff, but that is now what do we call it? Really pedantic, beyond what is really would be considered worth complaining about it. Let's put it that way. So there they are. They're oiled and going back. Sadly, no shullers for this guitar. Maybe at a later date I'll drill out the holes and fit the shullers. But that's a big issue. You've got to get the neck off, set up on the drill press, which I'm not set up to film over there, so I wouldn't be filming that. But you know what the process would entail then. Drilling out, setting up on the drill press. What else? Protecting, putting some tape on the finish so that you don't chip out any of the finish. Luckily, this guitar, the finish is pretty thin, which is I really like thin finishes. I think that's just good for guitars acoustically, even aesthetically. For me, I like a nice thin finish. As long as it's well put on, it covers properly. It's no longer sinking into the pores. Then I like a thin finish. It's just got that nice vintage feel to it. I always liked rosewood fingerboards. These Parfera fingerboards are very red tinted brown, and I guess that's a love or hate thing. They're not bad, but they're not as nice looking as the proper rosewood boards. I really like those the best. Also, they just seem to give the best feel. And you know what I'm noticing? As I turn these screws in, many of them are stripped out. I've gotten them to the place where they should be finger tight and holding, and the wood inside of the screw hole is stripped out. Now, to me, that is very likely where a lot of the tuning stability issues are going to come from as well. Because remember, as the string starts to tension up, it pulls on the post. Now, the ferrule inside of the post is there to limit the amount of travel that this post, because now the post wants to pull. If you've got the string around it, pulling in this direction, you're pulling that post over. And of course, it's mounted on a flat plate underneath. So as you pull on that post, this flat plate wants to torque in this direction and pull on the screw that would be here. So that could also affect the tuning stability, and especially when you're working with a tremolo. So I need to make a solution there. Sorry, this video is going to go on for a while now. It's 44 minutes. And we're going to go on with it. But I am going to have to make a plan there to plug up those holes a little bit. Just make them a bit smaller. And of course, I do have a standardized plan for that. It's called super glue. That's what I use to handle this problem. So once again, off come the screws and the tuners. Let me just make a bit of room here. Oh, yeah. because I definitely want to stabilize that. I'm not going to fill at all. All I want to do, what's going on here? Kind of lost. All I want to do is get a little bit of tension back in those holes, and the way to do it is just with a little bit of super glue. Drop it in there, and actually, you know, when I remember when I took these things out, I noticed there was quite a bit of that wood dust, wood shavings. So probably that's where the threads were stripped out, and I'm thinking that happened at the factory. Person with a machine there, the electric screwdriver, got a little bit trigger happy and damaged the wood, you know, just wore out that wood. So, okay, that screw, all right, it can stay in there. Don't get lost, my little screw. Everything's out. And next step would be to grab a bit of super glue, which I have conveniently close by, as I recall. Yep. Some more fresh shop towel to prepare things here. And here you can actually see underneath there the old wood shavings that come out of these things. So there's that. And the super glue is on hand, but I don't know how that's going to behave. So I just want to add this, and this is going to sort of wash out the video image, I know, but I need the light on over here to do this job sort of as well as possible, and I want to see as well as I can. I'm also going to need my second pair of glasses for that, which I have over here. Because my old eyes, they don't do that job so good no more. You know what? Looking close up at these holes here, you can actually see that things did not go well. So I want to get a blade, which I have on a scalpel. Try not to prick my finger with it. Here's some more super glue, and this is Loctite, so that might be a better grade of super glue. And now I just want to trim this because what I have is some wood sticking up. See that? So as these screws were over tightened, it actually tore up on the wood. Okay, that's a nice angle to work at right there. So I'm just cutting that tear out of the way. I suppose I could leave it, maybe even try to push it back. Anyway, it's done. So let's get a look. Super glue, little pointy object. Where are you? There you are. Okay. And then let's drop. Oh, is that blocked? Ain't but nothing coming out of there. Might need to be deblocked. right. Okay, it would appear that I've unblocked you. Let's try this. Okay. Need to move a little quickly here because these drops are coming out at quite a good rate. And I'm going to kind of overdo it a little bit and then work the glue in. And that's why I have this little pointy device, is as the glue, it kind of bubbles on the hole and it won't necessarily go all the way down. And I've got to move kind of quickly so that I don't glue my little pointer into the hole. But it does kind of break the bubble and allow the glue to go further down, which is really what I'm after. Now, all I'm doing really, I mean, putting a coat of super glue on the walls of the hole just makes the hole that little bit smaller. So that's done. And now with a towel, just make sure that I've done any build-up on the outside of the hole. And I'm going to let that harden. Now, I have a little cheating machine because I don't have any, what do you call it, any catalyst for the glue, that acceleration spray. So all I do, my little heat gun, just give it a quick little blast of heat, 100 degrees Celsius, so it's not set to a very high temperature. And just like 2 seconds, it's all done. That's all done. Got to put your cover back on. Also, I want to ensure I've got a little air passage in this thing, so I squeezed it out and then wiped it with a shop towel. So that's clean, clear, and good. So I'm going to leave that for 60 seconds or so to set up. And then after that, we'll check it with the little pointer again. See if there's any glue. That glue is still not cured. But I can feel good resistance on each one, which is great. It's really what we want. And hopefully that will be enough to ensure a nice tight fit for the screws as they go back in. Now I don't want to be in a rush to do this because I don't want to go gluing those screws in there. That would be a disaster. All I want to do is have them a nice tight fit. So Coca-Cola's going. I'm going. No, not like that. Something funny on the side there. Coming back to this neck, I just like this neck. The wood is, I don't know, really good. Really, really good. Me like. So checking again. That seems to be set up. Yeah. That's great. Love it. Seem to be kind of reaming out any excess as well, which isn't a bad thing. That hole, that depth is good. They're all drilled to the same depth, which is good. Probably automated process. I've got a feeling that this was actually the issue for this tuning stability. So, right, let's get these guys back in. One. Not the Charlers, they don't fit. You guys. And let's see how you do. Oh, yes. Yeah, that screw now feels like it's going into new, fresh wood. Just great. Number 2. Let's do number 2. Yep. That is nice and tight. I'm not turning it all the way down because I want to make sure everything lines up before I go tightening down to the limit. Do I have one viewer? One whole viewer? Well, hello, one whole viewer. I actually don't do these because I want to have hundreds of people watching. That's why I have gigs. I do this because, of course, so many people buy these things and then they have some issues with them. And as we learn together, everybody benefits. And you can enjoy that guitar that you placed so much hope in when you put your money on the table, right? These screws feel way better this time. And I was concerned that they were going to glue themselves in, but that doesn't appear to be the case. I think that I gave enough time. Luckily, super glue doesn't take that long to set up. And it does seem to be having the desired effect of just providing enough purchase again inside the screw holes so that the screws do their job. And there's that. Last screw in. Nice and tight. Now I'll go back and do the rest. And they definitely tighten up now and they come to the stop. You can feel when they have now said, okay, sir, that's enough. Get to the end. And they're holding. That's just beautiful. That just gives me so much confidence that this tuning stability is now going to be better. Bring them all up to their final tightness. That's marvelous. Let me get my junk out of the way. But that, to me, that looks a whole lot better. And we'll see how it feels, because now they've all been lubricated as well, which is also just exactly what we wanted. Just give them a quick wipe off. Any excess oil on there is just going to gather dust and cause other issues. So never have any excess on. Isn't that what they say? Everything in moderation. Even moderation in moderation, right? All right, let's string you up. So I'll try and bring that back down this way. And take these lights away as well, because you don't need those. Now you can see, that's much better. You can see a little bit more clearly. Just the stringing process all over again for the umpty-fifth time, whatever how many times it was. I'm just listening to myself talking, and I was watching Elon Musk talking the other day, and of course he's South African origin as well. And I just heard him speaking in a certain way. I thought, man, he talks fast. Then I realized he talks just like me. I don't know if it's fast, but we have certain words where we kind of blast through what we're saying, which is, it's weird. It's got to come through there. Come on. There's it. Is that right? Why does that look like it tangled through? Probably did. Yeah, it did. Okay, pass through there. Can you hear my wife banging around the house too? Here she comes. Shh, quiet. No talking. Being on YouTube, so you're making yourself famous when you talk to me. What? I said I'm being live on YouTube, so you're being famous if you talk to me. I know. My wife does not feel the need to be famous. No, I must say, neither do I. It's not why I'm doing any of this. I feel the need to be helpful. That's all. So, there you can see this process of tuning up. Oh, not you. You. Sooner or later, one of these strings is going to give as well. Tuning and retuning like this. But we take our chances. Right. Come on, take. That's it. Feels all right. Last one. And here's again is the beauty of these split post vintage style tuners, is that restringing, putting old strings back on, it's just such a breeze. Come on, get in under there. So that's brought up. Let's lose the capo. I'm over-tuning on purpose. And if you've been watching the whole video, you'll remember why. See, look at that, it's already flat. Tuning. Tuning. Give me a G. Sorry, need to clear the nose. Blasted hay fever. I feel like doing a Michael Jackson. Remember that story about that he had this plastic bubble that he lived in? At a certain time of year, I go through this. There's a view. Almost there. How long are we going now? Hour and 7. Wow. That's a lot. Be finishing soon. Hopefully. Be a bloody shame if I've done this video and gained nothing. Still a bit more. All right. Put the tremolo arm back in. And let's see how this tuning stability is doing. Right, so I do tend to tune a little flat because I tend to fret a bit hard. And then I find then I stay in tune better that way, in general terms. That's the sound of that. That's that tremolo spring. You hear that? I need to reposition that other stuff that I put in underneath there. Anyway, I'll do that on my own. It does work. You just got to set it up right. So I would say now my tuning stability is good. Tuners still feel a little bit stiff when they come up to pitch. I've got a feeling that they're fairly coarse, probably 11:1 turn ratio, where good, smooth tuners tend to be 16:1, even 18:1. So these are probably 11:1. which is also typical of the old style vintage tuners. So yeah, true to their vintage heritage, you could say. Anyways, so this is all going to go back in the box, and maybe another day we'll be making a video about putting these on. We'll see. I'm going to live with the guitar for now and see how it pleases me before we go going any further. So thanks for watching, and have a good weekend, what's left of it. I'll see you soon.